YouTube,
I support myself, but it's time to be
Periscope,
united.
Twitter.
גנץ יצא באמת
אני עולה, עליתי.
Okay. All right. Hello. We are live. We're live on our Facebook page. We're live on Arutz Sheva Israel National News Facebook page. On the Jewish Journal.
Yes.
We're live on the Jewish Journal. We're going to be talking about, obviously, how can we not?
Elections.
Corona.
Corona,
Elections.
Corona and
It's
elections.
like a bad cocktail.
Yep.
Election Corona.
Yep.
And apparently third time's not a charm. And we're going to be talking about the Democratic primaries a little bit.
Ah, your favorite friends.
That shit show. I mean, that bleep show.
Uh-huh.
And much more, guys. So tune in. If you have any questions, if you have comments, leave them in the comment section below. And we'll try and get to your questions.
You want to retweet the tweet?
Retweet the tweet?
live? The live
I just want to make sure they hear us.
No, they hear us. They hear us.
Yeah, nice.
Of course they hear us. Okay.
Sweet. All right.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
elections. So apparently we're going to round number 4.
That's how
what
it looks like, man.
Is there no chance of a minority government from the right side? Like,
Look,
will Lieberman maybe abstain?
Let's do a little recap. So
Okay.
on Monday night, the exit polls showed 60 mandates to the right side of
the right coalition.
Right, 60 mandates. And the other 60, some people call it the left, but it's not really left 60. It's like it because it's made out of Lieberman, who's not really the left, right? He has 6 or 7 mandates.
Yeah.
The Arab Party,
Who also aren't really the left.
Yeah, they're like their own wing,
Yeah.
right? And the actual left, it's 2 parties. It's Gantz's Blue and White Party, and it's Havoda Meretz.
Yeah.
So
which is a coalition
and
of 3
together-
parties, which is
yeah.
incredible. 3 parties that, like, I mean, together made up something like 30, 35 mandates at different points.
Right.
And now barely scraped
40.
together. What? 8?
The
7?
Avoda, the labor.
Avoda, Gesher, and
Meretz.
Meretz.
Yeah, they're
all
at
came together and they
6 or
barely
something.
scraped together 6 mandates.
Yeah.
So either it tells you that the left is dead,
Shrinking.
or that everybody really coalesced into this,
Blue and White. Yeah, many leftists.
anti-BB campaign.
Right. Many leftists voted for Gantz.
Yeah,
this time.
jumped ship on their original
But,
parties. And were like,
BB's achievement is incredible because,
is it?
I mean, in pure numbers, yes.
Okay, tell us.
Because I just, if you guys don't know, I worked on the campaign, on BB's campaign. So we brought a huge number of voters. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's a historic, I think it ended with 36 or 37 mandates. We brought almost 1.25 million, something in that.
1.25 million
Yeah.
people.
And last time we brought,
Which is more people.
it's 150,000 more people than last time.
And more people than ever.
And more people than ever. Yeah.
Really. Wow.
So the numbers are amazing. But it's just not enough because the system is so weirdly, I don't know how to put it. Like, even though BB is by far, it's the biggest party.
Yeah.
Gantz got like 32 or 33.
But the biggest party, I mean, the system doesn't dictate that the biggest party
Right.
takes the cake. I mean, if that were true, then last
Right.
round, Blue and White, in the first round, the Likud would have taken.
Right. It's not enough. It
It's
does
not
show a
enough.
sentiment.
For those of our listeners who don't know, the system basically requires you to build to get majority support. It can be a plurality so long as not more people vote against you. So basically, there's a vote of confidence, right, in the government after the elections, and you need more people to vote for you than to vote against you.
Right. You need 61. That's the magic number.
Generally speaking, you can do 61, but you can have a minority government if like 55 vote for you and only 50 vote against.
Right. And someone
and
leaves
so
the room.
many abstain. Yeah.
So
but
it's a mess. So on election
it gives
night,
a lot of power. What's upsetting about this is that it gives a lot. it's both a pro and a con, right? The idea, a lot of people think that democracy is about giving a voice to minorities, right? But you don't want, obviously, minorities to have all the power. You don't want to have one guy in the room who has all the power. And
Right.
that's the downside
It
of the
lets the
system,
small
is
parties to extort.
to basically extort, to hold all the cards in their hand.
Right.
And so that's what happens with Lieberman. Lieberman, for example, has a 7-seat party, and he's
Holds the
neither
keys.
here nor there, and he's basically just holding the whole country captive for 3 election
Nobody
cycles.
knows why, even. Nobody realizes what he wants anymore. He promised, this time he said there will not be fourth elections. But how?
But didn't he promise that last time?
No, last time he said he will only sit in a government that's formed of Bibi and Gantz together.
Bibi and Gantz together.
And he kept his word.
And Gantz now is calling for a unity government?
No. Yes, but only if Bibi's gone.
Only if Bibi's gone. But I
Yeah.
thought something had changed this time around.
No.
Still he's standing on the...
Yeah. So what's happening now is they essentially what they... So here are the scenarios, okay?
All right.
Because what happened, so in election, the exit polls said 60. With 60, you could do something. Like Bibi
You could
have
maybe
done.
peel away another
you
person
could,
from
you
blue
could
and white.
bribe someone from
Yeah.
the other side to come if and he gets a minister job and he can essentially
Jump
leave,
ship from
jump
blue
ship.
and white, which is happened, by the way. There was a member of Knesset on the blue and white party who has since the first election cycle moved over to
Yes.
Likud.
It happened. The historic time it happened was in
Rabin.
94 or 93,
Yeah.
and Rabin gave this guy from a right-wing party.
Tomet, right?
He gave him a minister and a
Yeah.
Mitsubishi car, which was the type of a car that ministers got at the time. And
Back
in
then, that was
return-
luxurious.
Yes.
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi.
A Mitsubishi Lancer.
Right, and and in return he voted for the Oslo Accords, and this is how Rabin passed the Oslo Accords.
It was for voting the Oslo Accords through the government. It wasn't for It wasn't actually for a coalition.
No, he already
Yeah.
had I don't remember the details, but
Yeah,
he needed that extra vote.
I see.
So anyway, you could do that if you had 60, but since then it dropped to 58.
Yeah, because another side note is that they have to count all the votes, and it's all like it's a
long process.
proportional, right? Because there's a threshold, so if certain parties don't pass the threshold, then they're not even counted, and then the mandates are divvied up in a whole different way.
And this time you even had the envelopes of corona, of people who are suspected to be infected with corona.
Really? And they open them with gloves and
With
masks?
suits. Yeah, you haven't seen the photos?
I haven't.
Yes.
Oh my god.
We'll get to the corona in a bit, guys, but essentially they said at the time of the elections you had 5,000 Israelis in home solitude, how do you call it? Isolation, quarantine, home quarantine. So they said, why? What will we do with them? We won't let them vote? No, so
They'll be dead in 2 weeks anyway.
So this is their last chance maybe to
Yeah.
vote. So they made up the special ballots for corona people,
Yeah.
and they came only now today they said that in one of the people who went to vote today turned out he had corona. So now all the people who voted with him in the corona,
In that corona polling station.
Yes.
And yeah.
now they have to get re-quarantined for another 14 days. This is how fucking stupid. Oh, sorry,
Jesus.
guys. This is how stupid.
Jeez.
Yeah, the Minister of Health here was. So
Yeah, they're kind of bumbling around. They
Yeah.
have no idea what to do with it.
So we dropped the right wing dropped to 58, and this makes life really hard because now to get to 61 you have to seduce three. That's a
So that's what I'm
big
wondering.
number.
There's no way to convince Lieberman to sit it
because
out.
Lieberman swore he will never. He has to take Bibi down. That's his.
Either to take him down or to bring him together with guns.
Bring him together was last time. This time he said Bibi is finished.
Going home.
Yeah. So he will never sit with Bibi. Bibi is not going anywhere. And
I'm losing count at this point.
yeah.
I mean, that's it. We're going to fourth. Who knows? Maybe after 5th, 6th, 7th.
So here are the scenarios.
Yeah.
Scenario number 1, fourth elections.
Well, let's say scenario number 1 is elections until we die.
Yeah, fourth
Eternal
elections, because no one will be able to form a government. The
Potentially this could go on forever.
Potentially, yes.
I mean, there's nothing in the law that says,
I mean,
you know,
forever.
after no,
We're all mortal,
oh, that's
my
true.
friend.
That's true. That's true. I don't know though. I don't know. I think BB was born like this.
But
Technically, if it was
yes.
the parties and it wasn't the people, it could go on forever.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. But so this is option number 1.
Okay.
Fourth
Fourth
elections.
elections.
Option number 2 is that Bibi somehow manages to seduce 3 guys from the other side, which is I'm on the 2NJB page here.
Okay.
You
I'm
can
just
check out
checking them
the
all. Jewish Journal.
Jewish Journal.
All right.
That's option number 2.
Yeah.
Highly unthinkable. It would be beyond even Bibi the magician. It will be extremely difficult for him to do such a thing. And the fourth option, this is the option that was last time. In theory, Gantz has 62.
Okay.
Gantz has 62. 15th of which is the Arab Party. But if he was if he was a ruthless politician, which he isn't,
You say politician. Okay.
he could have form a government, very easy government, with Lieberman and the Labour Party, and have the Arabs and Meretz support from outside.
Meaning a minority government.
Yeah, it's
But
not
that's
really
the-
a minority government.
But that's the thing. You would have to have the agreement of abstaining from some very extreme Arab members of parliament, which I don't think would agree to it, would they?
Well,
Meaning there's some very
look,
far.
the Arabs are amazing
far,
politicians. You can strike deals with them. Maybe for the amount of
You
money.
would have to have all of them at most, except
except one, maybe.
except maybe one.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
two.
except 3.
Three.
Two.
Exactly. Yeah, you'd have to have 59 to 58,
Yeah.
right? So except for 3.
2. 3.
3. We're
Yeah.
really good at
Yeah.
math. No, 3. Yeah, 3 at most.
Mhm.
3 Arab. And now, is that realistic? Is the question.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I think it is. But
Because if those 3 vote against,
no, they need to abstain. They'll abstain.
No,
They won't come to the Knesset that day. They'll be sick with corona, and
okay.
we can't come this day. Very easy, very easy.
Okay.
You just need to strike. Now, the problem is that the Arabs they need to support a government with Lieberman,
yeah.
right? Which is ridiculous. But then Lieberman can stay outside also. Lieberman can vote from the outside. He
And
can
then you
vote
have
for
a minority government
of
what?
Gantz
Of
and the
40
Labour.
something.
yes. Yeah,
That's the tiny. But
they could do it. If they could do it, and then
complete. But they wouldn't be able to function as a
so
government.
what? But Gantz moves to the prime minister's office. Okay, it's symbolic. And then for the next elections, even if it's in 6 months, he comes from the seat of the prime minister.
He's an incumbent. But you don't think he's capable of pulling off
No.
such a maneuver?
No, because he could have done it last time. They almost did it. But in the end, Lieberman wouldn't do it. He didn't want to take the risk of collaborating with the Arab Party. Yeah, so all these scenarios are really improbable. So, which leads us to fourth elections, unfortunately.
there's another scenario where Gantz gets corona or BB,
Oh God, no!
and
Come on.
and
That's not even.
we're not allowed to even say
no.
that. That's it.
Yeah, no.
The
Don't
Shabak.
say it.
I'm not saying it's like biological warfare. I'm saying just there's a chance that someone gets corona and it wipes it out and it changes the whole game.
No,
I thought
no.
corona might play into this election cycle somehow.
I was sure they're
by-
gonna postpone it.
You thought they
And
were
you
gonna
know,
postpone
one
the
of
vote?
one of the reporters just wrote. He wrote on Monday when we had the elections, you had 5,000 people in quarantine, right?
Yeah.
Today, you have 60,000 people in quarantine. So if elections were 1 week later, they would have been canceled because
Because
there- you,
60,000 is what, two mandates?
in a week you'll have 100, 200,000 people in quarantine. You couldn't hold elections.
You think it's going to get to that point?
Yeah. Now it's exponential. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I'm very apocalyptic with the
Yeah,
corona.
I
I'm
don't know,
scared.
man.
I'm scared. I'm really scared, actually, from the corona. Look at Italy. Are you following what's going on in Italy?
Yeah, but how many deaths?
80.
80 deaths in
Yes.
Italy.
In a week.
Out of how many? Sick?
2,500.
80 out of 2,500, which is like 3%.
It's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a high death rate.
It's a lot. And also, these 2,500, they're going to turn to 5,000 in a matter of a week because the virus, it grows exponentially. Here in Israel, it started from people coming back from Italy. We Israelis love Italy.
Yeah.
And what happened was people came back from Italy and they brought the virus with them. And every day they knew, the Ministry of Health knew exactly who got infected. So they would release exactly the schedule of the person who was infected. The only problem is you find out 5 days later, like because
The symptoms.
the
are
symptoms
dormant.
start showing
Yeah.
after between 5 to 14 days, right?
Yeah.
So by the time you realize someone is sick, he's already been all around the place.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, okay, so it is worse than the flu, right?
Way worse. So
Wait,
the flu,
has about a
the-
0.1 death rate.
exactly.
Okay,
and
so
this is
it's about
0.3.
20 times. No, it's not. It's not 0.3. It's
3%.
3%.
3%.
So
Yeah.
I mean, at 3% at the top.
But
the
also you
top.
have more, but it's also more contagious than the flu. It's more
Yeah.
contagious than the flu. So if you multiply the contagiousness rate and the death rate, you realize it's way more dangerous than the flu.
No, but in the end, the death rate, that's what matters. Yeah,
No.
no, but
The contagion also matters, because because it's
the more people that get it, then the more
Exactly,
people that
3% of what?
yeah.
3%
But
of
in the end, it's I don't know. I don't think the data is there yet to say that this is like something that, in the end you have a handful of cases, like, relative on a global scale. Speaking on a global scale, you have a handful of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a couple thousand deaths.
No, way more.
You have a couple thousand deaths.
Okay.
I mean, you
I
have
think
what?
you
You have
have-
like 10,000 deaths
No.
at most.
No.
I don't think
no,
you
you
even
you
have.
don't have 10,000. You have
So
a
you
few
have
thousands.
So you have a couple thousand deaths.
Okay.
And, I don't know. I mean, I think people are blowing this out of proportion. In
problem
the
is
end, it's if you look at the
3%
death
is
rates
the
for
average.
if you look at the death rates for younger people with
Yeah.
no prior conditions.
But you have grandparents, you have parents.
yeah, no, of
So
course.
for 80 plus,
But-
it's 14%
Yeah,
death
but
rate.
for 80 plus, there's a lot of things that have that high of a risk.
Not
falling
a
down
contagious.
falling down the stairs can cause death at 80 plus.
Right, but
And a
this is
lot
a-
of
a
people
whole
do
new-
fall out
but
down
that-
the stairs
yeah.
and end up dying. All I'm saying is that that's life. Like the older you get, the higher risk you are of dying from different things.
Right.
Just in general, also of just dying. I mean, eventually, like you said, we'll die. So the higher risk you are of dying, and the younger you are, the more immune you are to these things. And that's just the way that things are going to, like, the distribution of risk, right?
But if 70% of the population is going to get it, then there's a 70% chance that your grandparents will have it, and then it means like there's a 7 to 8% chance they'll die for
Yeah,
it.
but I'm saying this
It's-
is just it's like a new thing that's thrown into the mix. So that's why we're discussing it. But if you look at statistics, I mean, I don't know them, but I'm pretty sure if you look at statistics of like falling down the stairs and flu and whatever it is, for the older, they're at risk of all these things already. So yes,
this
this
is a new thing that's
this is a
added to
new
the
thing
equation.
that added a few percentiles or a fraction of a percentile in relative to the other things. But like, it's life. So I mean,
Everything's life.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not like oh no, there's a tsunami that's gonna wipe out 50 million people in whatever, or I don't know. Or there's going
Estimation
to
in
be
Israel.
a
Look,
crazy
in Israel,
earthquake
you
that's going to
have
wipe out half the globe,
in
or
Israel.
a meteor is going to
Here's a
hit the earth.
statistic for you. Okay,
It's a
in
disease.
Israel, you have about 40,000 deaths per year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, of all kinds of diseases and heart attacks and stuff. Probably it's from diseases and
You have more deaths per
no,
year.
not natural deaths. Let's say from
40
diseases.
deaths from diseases.
40,000. Yeah. Okay, that's what I heard.
Okay.
The CEO of the Ministry of Health explained, and the estimations are currently that when it outbreaks the disease, it will infect between 40 to 60% of the population. So they estimate it'll lead to around between 30 and 40,000 deaths.
But they don't know
So
that. They don't know that it's going to
No,
infect
but
40
they-
to 60% of the population. They're making all kinds of
Calculations.
predictions. Yeah, but they don't have any idea about this virus. That's what I'm saying.
No,
They
by
don't-
now it's out for 2 months. They have some idea.
They have some idea, but they
You
don't.
look at Korea, you
they
look at
still
Italy.
don't quite know. Speaking of,
Oh god.
oh no, that's it. We're all dead.
So yeah, I'm pretty scared, but I don't know.
Really?
People call me hypochondriac, so I guess.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of, I was at a play the other day, The Hypochondriac
Oh.
of Molière.
Oh.
You know it?
No.
So there's a great. Well, it's in Hebrew, but there's a great.
Your
There's a
sister
great-
plays in it or something?
No.
Okay.
It's in Habima.
Oh, okay.
Habima Theater with Yaakov Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, it was hilarious,
He's a
man.
good, yeah. He's a
They
good.
modernized it a bit, but it's amazing how much good writing stands the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like people talk shit about like Seinfeld, right? It's or that kind of stuff, like sitcoms. They're cheap, right? They're like it's like Pulp Fiction, but this is like the Seinfeld of like the 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hilarious. But anyway, moving on to a whole other sickness,
Yeah.
the Democratic primaries.
What's up? What's going on up there? First of all, I want to ask you, nobody's competing with Trump on the...
No, so generally, when there's an incumbent,
Mhm.
then a lot of the primaries are actually canceled.
Uh-huh.
Like the South Carolina primary, I think, for the Republican Party was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the incumbent just takes the
Uh-huh.
spot. There's not
In
a
both
primary.
parties?
I'm not sure how it works for the Democratic Party, but I think so.
Okay.
I don't think there's much of a primary for like whichever party is in power, meaning
Okay.
holds the seat. But the Democratic primaries is just fun to watch. It's just like, okay, so there's Biden, right, and Bernie Sanders, who are now kind of the front runners. For a while there was Elizabeth Warren, Michael
Mike.
Bloomberg joined the race. He, by the way, just crashed and burned. He did awfully. He hit the debate stage early on, and he just did really poorly. And all that, I think it was like $500 million he threw down into this campaign, just down the drain, man. Down the drain. Which just goes to like the whole Citizens United, like campaign money, the whole idea of like you got to keep money out of campaigning politics and that, because it's this idea that like the rich, with all their money can just stick their hands into our brains and manipulate us because we're just pawns on a chessboard. Complete bullshit. This guy poured $500 million down, probably more money that's ever been spent on any campaign.
Most of it went to Mark
Yeah, and it just like Mark who?
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't do anything.
As long
for
as
him.
it stays in the shtetl.
As long.
What does it matter?
No, but in
Mike's
the end,
daughter will marry Zach's son.
in the end, it didn't actually influence anything. Like, right? The guy didn't. I mean, it didn't. Not for his benefit.
Why did he fail though?
Why did he fail? 'Cause
He's the best candidate.
Because he's too apologetic. No, he's not the best candidate.
Like he's the least
He's too
problematic
apologetic.
one.
He's too apologetic. Like he apologized for stop and frisk. He was kind of like hesitant on the whole NDA stuff that he has with women.
And he
from
shouldn't
his-
have apologized for
Shouldn't
that.
have. I don't think
For
he
the
should. That's
stop
the
and
thing.
frisk.
That's what Trump
People
has
say
going
the
for
stop
him.
and
Trump.
frisk.
said awful things, and he never apologized. The closest he came to an apology was oh, it's locker room talk. It's not an apology. That's an excuse, and it's like a bad one. But it's like he doesn't give a shit. Michael Bloomberg, they asked him about stop and frisk, and instead of answering what he should have answered, which is that stop and frisk lowered crime, like cut the crime rate in New York City by murders by half, meaning he saved most of those murders are young black men, and he saved 300 of them a year. So if they're because the whole idea behind stop and frisk was that they stopped they basically racially profiled people, stopped them on the street, and frisked them for guns. Right? There was a no gun policy in New York. And everybody was, oh, it's a racist policy. It targeted minorities, and it's awful. How could you do this to black people? Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you're really suggesting that Mike Bloomberg went after minorities and black people, he saved 300 black men from dying in violent crimes. Like, he brought down the crime. He shouldn't have apologized. He should have said, this was the situation. There were over 600 murders a year in New York, and I brought them down by 300, but he didn't. Instead, he said in the first debate, he was like, if there's one thing that I'm embarrassed about how it turned out was stop and frisk. Like, that was his answer. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, he's out of the equation. Now it's Bernie.
Warren.
Now it's Bernie and Biden.
Okay, Warren went down easily.
Warren is so there's a big debate about whether Warren's taking votes from Bernie or from Biden.
Okay.
A lot of people, because she's kind of on the left, right? She also believes in universal health care and all that. And she has the wealth tax, which is just ridiculous. She wants to tax people on their wealth, right? So if you it's not just a tax on the money that you make, income, it's the money that you've accumulated. So if you now have saved $1 million after paying taxes on all that, I mean, you've managed to save $1 million in your bank account. She wants to take, I don't know how much, 20% of it, which is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so she's been going kind of far left. So people are saying, oh, she's taking votes from Bernie. But a lot of people think that she's the people who are supporting her are actually more moderate, and they're going to be Biden voters if she pulls out.
Okay.
But now there was just Super Tuesday, as many of you guys probably know. Many of you might have voted actually in, and Biden just kind of completely blew it, like blew Bernie out of the.
So now, what are the numbers?
So basically, the way it goes, as I understand it, I don't know all the details, but as I understand it, is that basically in the Democratic Party, you need about 1,990 something, almost 2,000 delegates, right, to win. And there's a long way to go, right? But I think that Super Tuesday is important because 14 states vote on the same day. And so it gives a momentum, right? So I think right now there's only been something like 900 delegates or 1,000 delegates to be split up. And Bernie and Biden are actually very close. But I think Biden leads almost by 70 or 80. So he has something like 450. Bernie has something like 375 or something like that. And then the other guys have nothing.
Okay. So Bernie has no chance?
So no, it's a close run.
Mm-hmm.
It might be. I think Biden is there's more of a chance.
The system will stand by Biden. The party.
Yeah. Biden's more of a moderate. He's more of a conservative, not in the political sense, but a conservative Democratic candidate.
Right.
Bernie is let's break
all the rules. One is from the system and one is an outsider.
Yeah. But there's, I think, a lot of the Democratic leadership has been pointing to the fact that this is the new future of the Democratic Party. They were saying people like AOC or the future of the Democratic Party. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, but with that said, Corona might play a big role in the election.
Yeah, it's hitting the states and the markets.
It's hitting the markets, which apparently, I mean, I'm not sure if it's
It erased a year of right?
There was
Something
a
like
stock
that.
market correction apparently, which means that like the stock market dropped more than 10%, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, which is not good for Trump.
Right, because he ran on economy.
I mean, he has to have a strong economy, lowest unemployment, highest job
Mm-hmm.
rate,
Mm-hmm.
yada yada yada.
And now it exposes the weaknesses of the healthcare system, right, in America.
Yeah, but I
essentially.
don't know if it's quite there yet. Whether or not they're organized and all that, but I don't know if it's quite there yet. It's hitting the market, and I think that that's going to play out badly for him. But I don't know. It'll be
Yeah,
an
but I
interesting
guess
election.
Biden, it will be
It'll
an
come around
easy.
right around the same time we're up for round 4,
Yeah, round 4. Yeah, it's gonna be early September,
early September. So that's
or
September.
maybe even August. Maybe even August.
We'll have a month off, 2 months off, and then we'll have the U.S. elections.
Right.
It's just like elections nonstop, man.
Well, more work for me, right?
Yeah.
Well,
You-
yeah, it's
you-
been an interesting campaign. It's been the shortest campaign we've
yeah.
had. Yeah, only a month.
It was complete. It was almost like unfelt in Israel.
Right.
I mean,
Right. It
I
was
guess
very
it's to be
under the radar.
expected because
What did, someone wrote us something?
yeah, it looks like this corona is spreading worldwide and kill a large percentage of the population. I don't think it's going to be that large of a percentage. But,
Who is there?
David Conroy. Thanks,
Okay.
David. So I don't know. It was unfelt the election cycle. I mean, the last two were, you had all the signs and the commercials and
Right.
the campaign trail.
People look, BB. I can tell you a little bit about the campaign if you want. Like,
Yeah.
how we brought these numbers. It had 3 key elements. Okay, so number 1 was ground operation. Okay, this time BB said, okay, I'm gonna do a Trump style,
American style
tour,
campaign
trail. Yeah, he hit the road every evening. He did like 2 or 3 big events in 3 big cities, or 2 or 3 big cities.
Mm-hmm.
And we broadcasted it live on Facebook. And the idea was, because the research showed that there are cities that vote for Likud, for Bibi, but these cities had voting percentage of like 50%, right? So
Where the national average is like 65,
70. So
Yeah.
the notion was, if we can take this 50% and make it 60% in key cities, you can win.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not, like, in some cities it worked, in some cities it didn't work. But that
In
was
the end,
but
I mean,
the
it
idea
looks
was,
like it did work.
yeah,
Brought
so,
out 150,000 more.
yeah,
voters.
almost 200,000 more.
Wow.
And also don't forget that to you gotta also do some crowd, like, it's not enough to bring new voters. You gotta keep the voters who voted,
Mm-hmm.
like, keep them happy enough so they come up.
Can't just take them for granted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure that 1.1 million come, and then the extra 200 or 300.
Yeah. You're not even sure that it's the same 1.1. Maybe
No.
it was a million of the same ones.
Exactly.
And you actually brought in
right.
another 250.
Which brings me to the second thing. It was a huge deal here in Israel, the Elector app. You heard some.
that was hacked.
It was hacked. It's an app that a company, like a third-party company, sells to all kinds of few parties actually. And what you do, I think in America it's basic. I don't know how it works in America, but basically it's a database app.
Well, first of all, if I understood correctly, the government provides every party with a communication list
Of all the voters.
of all the voters.
It's not a communication list. It only has a name and ID number and address.
and their phone number in
No.
some cases.
No phone numbers.
So the app did that? The
No.
app hooked up the names with the phone numbers?
No, the app the app works. It's just you put data in it and you use it to control the data.
But I saw in the article that was on the news
Mhm.
that they were actually looking and they were playing around with it just to show how hacked it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking up famous people and he was showing that they actually have
Yeah.
their phone numbers.
You need to add the phone.
see.
The app comes empty. You put databases in
whatever
it.
data you have.
Yes.
Okay.
And add new data and in various ways. And the idea is that you use it to to find out who's going to vote for you.
What is the point of the government giving a database like that, though? The names and addresses. I don't understand the rationale behind
It's
that.
it's always been like that.
Doesn't make sense.
It's just I guess it's remains from the old days.
Okay, so you have this app. They dumped basically the list of names that they got from the government with addresses.
Yeah,
and then
you
they started adding other databases
Exactly.
to cross-reference so that they
and also
could,
collect data in various ways.
yeah.
You ask people on the street, you call people, you have
Yeah.
many ways to collect
It gives
data.
you a good infrastructure, like to build a database
to
on top of
understand
it.
who are your voters,
Yeah.
and then you use it on election day to make sure they go and vote.
Okay.
Um,
So what happened with this app?
well, there was a huge story because someone managed to hack it.
From what I saw, it was like extremely simple to hack.
Yeah. But you know what? It's a third party. Like the app is not the Likud's app.
Yeah.
Like the third part, the company that makes it screwed up.
But it was exclusively used
No.
by the Likud.
No. Also,
Okay.
Lieberman had it.
Okay.
But of course, you never heard
Which is
about
amazing.
it. You never heard
Yeah,
about it.
it wasn't
They
even
only
mentioned
targeted
once.
us. Listen, this time it was amazing. You gotta realize,
The way
guys,
the media targeted.
that we worked against huge forces. The entire media was against us. It was amazing.
So tell me this story. I heard a story,
Okay.
and I want you to corroborate some of the facts.
Well, I can't reveal everything.
No. But there was a big story recently, right
Gantz.
right a few days before the election, not about where Amit
The aid.
Segal.
Yeah.
Amit Segal is basically he's a reporter on one of the
He's the
prime
number
time.
one reporter in Israel. He's the
He's not the number one reporter in Israel. He's a no. I mean,
He's
that's
considered-
subjective. I'm saying
he's
he is
considered by everybody. He's it's pure numbers. He has the most following on social media. He's the most
Yeah.
influential. Yeah. He's by far the most influential
So
reporter in Israel.
but he's right wing. I mean that's conventional wisdom, right? Is that he's
Mhm.
right wing. He obviously won't reveal it because he's a journalist with integrity. But he's right wing. Most people believe he's right wing, and he is a reporter for Arutz 2, Channel 2 News, which is like CNN.
Yeah.
So imagine a right wing reporter like I don't know who in the United States working for CNN.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings a scoop about
that was Thursday night.
yeah,
I
and he
think.
brings a scoop, a recording of one of Gantz's
Top
top
senior-
advisors
yeah.
talking about Gantz and how he's not prepared to attack in Iran, right? And there were
Yeah.
other things there.
Yeah. He basically
what else?
said Gantz was
Weak.
first of all, he was
right?
weak. He was he's a danger
He's a
to,
danger
to
to
the
Israel.
future of Israel.
A lot of like really negative stuff about Gantz's top advisor talking about Gantz recorded on audio. You hear the guy saying
by
it.
a rabbi. So this
by a
aide
rabbi.
went to a rabbi to consult, and this rabbi recorded him and gave
the tape to Amit Segal.
basically.
Yeah, it got to
essentially.
Amit Segal.
It got to Amit Segal.
Then I heard,
Uh-huh.
which is unbelievable. I didn't know this at first, that Ilana Dayan
Uh-huh.
outed.
She's also very
Ilana
important.
Dayan is like what we just described about Amit Segal, but on the other hand, right? So she's a very
Yeah.
popular left wing reporter.
Yeah.
She's got her own kind of like
60-minute
news
style,
magazine
yeah.
shows and
On
she.
Southern and Friday and
So what happened there?
Okay.
Tell me. Tell the
first
what
of
happened
all,
with Ilana Dayan.
First of all, Ilana Dayan has her own show. She never comes to the evening news ever.
yeah.
Suddenly, so Amit Segal. Okay, elections were held on Monday. Okay, Thursday night, Amit Segal brings the scoop. Right, so
Yeah.
4 days to election. Friday night, Ilana Dayan comes to the suddenly she
Friday
comes to
night,
the
news show.
the news.
Ulpan
Suddenly,
Shishi.
yeah, she shows up there. She was never in the news. You know, what does she do?
She's never
What-
like on the
Yeah.
panel.
What
or
is she doing
anything.
there? And she revealed the source of Amit Segal. Okay,
Which is
which
just
is
unbelievable.
yeah.
It's
She
like
was like,
it's like the
yeah, the
first
state,
commandment
yeah,
in the 10 Commandments
right.
of journalism.
Basically, she stabbed him in the back.
No, but she didn't just stab Amit Segal in the back. She broke the golden rule of journalism,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And then she returned night after night. She was there on Friday evening, and on Saturday evening, and on Sunday evening, and it was a huge deal, a huge deal. And the media, of course, followed up on her gladly to expose. Like she wanted to show that Bibi lied when he said he had nothing to do with exposing the tape, and she supposedly had a recording that proves that Bibi was involved, although it was still pretty vague. But here's a crazier story.
How shady.
On Sunday
And there's
evening,
no way that they didn't know, by the way, before we get to this. There's no way that whoever invited her to Ulpan Shishi didn't know that she was about to reveal the source,
of course not. They all knew. Yeah,
which is just
yeah,
despicable.
yeah. They wanted to shift the attention from Amit Segal's exposure, which was, by the way, they failed, and I am sure this took mandates from Blue and White. People stayed at home because of this recording. You know,
Who-
but the entire media in Israel
Yeah.
followed up on Ilana Dayan's story just to cover up Amit
Yeah.
Segal's.
What kind of what kind of organization, what kind of outlet that pretends to be a journalistic outlet
Mm-hmm.
gathers together and says, "Okay, we have a journalist here who's going to out another journalist's source,"
These guys, look,
and they actually go up.
with these guys, it's the agenda, then it's the occupation.
Unbelievable.
So their agenda, they swore to bring Bibi down, and even if
And then
it
what-
means
okay.
betraying. So Sunday
Sunday
night, the night before the elections, this reporter from, let's say, the equivalent of Breitbart, the Israeli Breitbart, FSR by
Okay.
FSR 0404. It's a
Yeah.
very, very
Right
niche
wing.
right wing. Nevertheless, he exposed another part of these recordings of the top 8. Did you hear about it?
Yeah, where he talks about Gantz's mistress.
Love affairs.
Yeah.
Love affairs, okay? And that he betrays, and okay? No follow-ups. The media covered it up completely.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday morning, the day of elections, you had 0 follow-ups for that scoop. So imagine I brought tapes that show, I don't know, let's talk about Obama, okay? Let's say I brought, or I don't know. Let's say the night before the elections,
Podesta talking
I
about
bring, or not Obama. Let's say Mitt Romney, okay? Night before the election, 2014 or whenever it was, I bring a tape to CNN that Mitt Romney has tons
his
of
advisors talking
yeah,
about how his,
he has love affairs, right?
yeah.
They would publish it probably.
Think about it in Trump terms. Who's like like Jared Kushner? All of a sudden, you have Jared Kushner on tape talking about Trump and all his different love affairs or
Right.
his
You would-
corruption
would,
or whatever.
You would follow, like, even if you wouldn't publish it, if TMZ published it, you would follow up on it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or BuzzFeed, you would follow up on
No,
the
but
thing.
this is the thing. It's not. It's not a reporting. It's not like. It's not like. It's not like Breitbart reports from a source, a hidden source.
It's a recording. You hear
It's
it. It's
audio
a top 8.
recording. This is primary
Yes.
source. You can hear the person say it.
Yes. And in the tape, he says that the media knew for years, and they covered it up. Okay?
Wow.
And they hid it from the press. The press hid it from the people.
Yeah.
They just didn't follow up on it.
And this is not to say that Gantz did all these things, or that Gantz is weak on Iran, or that Gantz is has
for
all
the
these
people to
love
decide.
affairs. No, really, it's not to say that. Again,
The people
I don't.
can
Yeah,
decide
people
on
can
that.
decide. This is a criticism on the Israeli media machine, which is constantly, like, everybody constantly talks about how it's completely balanced and so on and so forth, and it's clearly not.
Right.
It's clearly just a well-oiled machine that's there to serve the establishment, which is Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So but election day was fun. We were
Yeah.
we were on the prime minister's residence the whole day, and the whole team. And yeah, we spent time with the prime minister in the evening. And then when the exit polls came through, it was a huge
Celebration, huh?
celebration.
Nice.
Yeah, it was he was thrilled, and we all were extremely happy. And now we shall see.
Now, again,
Yeah,
rinse and repeat.
back to reality.
Yeah.
That's it, guys.
All
That's it,
right.
basically. So thanks for
So,
tuning in.
Yeah,
We have
guys.
some exciting episodes coming up.
We do. We just had
Um,
a interview with Miriam Cabessa.
Yes, one of the top Israeli artists in the world, a painter, very fascinating woman, and we went to her studio. It was amazing. You'll hear it very soon. And we have Daniel Shestov coming up, and very cool episodes coming up in your direction. Before we go, first of all, a big thank you to Arutz Sheva. We're
Yes.
live on their Facebook right now.
Israel National News.
.com. Check them out. They have great content. If you want to hear about all the things we just discussed and much, much more, just go to israelnationalnews.com and tune in to all the amazing content there. Also, the Jewish Journal.
Yes, the Jewish Journal, guys. Check them out, jewishjournal.com. They also are a great outlet for news, for editorials, for columns.
Subscribe to their newsletter.
They have a great newsletter. Yeah. You can get it in your mail. They also have a bunch of great content. They have great podcasts. Shmuel Rosner.
Justin Rogers says to you, leaving for that cough into the elbow, great hygiene there.
Yeah. Well,
What you don't know that Eitan was almost diagnosed with corona this week.
Yeah.
Tell the story real quick.
So, well, we have people from the office who were in northern Italy, and they came back, and they were not in quarantine. So I started freaking out because Naor's paranoia every so often rubs off on me, and I called basically like the emergency hotline here in Israel, and I asked them, like, do I have corona? I described to them my situation because I got a bit under the weather, and they're like 0% chance. There's 0 chance you have corona. And I was like, okay, so I hung it up, and then I called them back. This is the emergency hotline, so like, I'm holding up the line for like a poor guy who's dying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think you heard the story until the end. It was the same woman. She's like, sir, 0 chance. I was like, but wait. And so I like, because it doesn't make sense to me that people who had been in northern Italy are supposedly at risk. I was in contact with them, yet I'm not at risk. Like, just common sense. Anyway, but they assured me, sir, do not panic.
Did you record that conversation?
No. Why?
Evidence for the future.
Yeah. When I die of corona.
Yeah, and your future wife.
My last breath,
wants
I can be like,
No, when you for your future wife to sue the bastards.
Yeah.
Right.
Well. Anyway, so
yeah, these are our plugs, guys.
JewishJournal.com, Israel National
Subscribe
News.
to our podcast.
Subscribe on YouTube,
Spotify,
all
iTunes.
the Apple Podcasts, and also
we accept donations. Help us
Yes.
out because we do this on our free time. It's now 10:30 p.m. in Israel. We're working our butts off.
I could be sleeping right now.
Yeah,
this
Ethan
is
could
2
be
hours
sleeping.
past my bedtime.
His future wife is home
Alone.
No food.
Hopefully, I hope alone. I mean, who knows?
I hope at home, and I hope
Yeah, alone.
one day he'll come. and
Maybe
she'll
I'm
just
podcasting here and she's having some love affair, But it's all for you guys.
Yeah,
It's
so
all for you guys.
So donate, make
So,
it
yeah.
worth, make it worth it for Eitan. Inbar, my sister, writes feel better, Eitan.
Thank you, Inbal.
She had a birthday yesterday.
Thank you.
So mazal tov.
Thank you.
She had a birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
So mazal tov.
Happy birthday, Mazal Tov. I hope you don't get corona.
Thank you guys. Thanks for
That's the
tuning
best.
in.
That's the best birthday wish you can wish
For
someone
sure.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah, guys.
Have a great night, and
Till next
thanks
time.
for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye. Wait for it.